Hello, and welcome to today's episode of the Limitless Ladies Network, where we help women build empathetic self-care and well-being. Before we get started, please note that this content is provided for general informational purposes only. It is not advice nor intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice. Please do not use this information for diagnosing or treating any medical or health conditions. Those seeking treatment for a specific disease or ailment should consult with a qualified physician, and we make no representations, no warranties, or assume any liability for the content herein. All right, so let's talk a little turkey. It's that time of year where we're all inside celebrating and having richer comfort foods as opposed to being outside and enjoying some of the active warmer months. Although it is feeling like it's summer out there, we are heading into the winter season. So as we do head into that winter season, I just thought it would be good for us to talk about some of those foods that you can start introducing into your meals as we talk about some of those comfort foods and put some healing properties into there for you and your family, especially as we're getting into the colder months and we're getting notifications from the CDC that the rise of pneumonia is actually kind of up. And there's been several cases of that going around, which we haven't seen quite this high in some time. In terms of food in general and meals, generally saying, or kind of general studies have said that the Mediterranean diet is actually one of the best diets that's out there for reducing inflammation and arthritis. As a spondyloarthritis remission patient, I can attest that food can either calm the body or it can inflame the body. So through my own experiences, I have journaled and I have worked with and studied, obviously, as I am a holistic autoimmune nutrition specialist through the AFPA, and learned how some foods can actually really enhance and heal our bodies. And I wanted to really dig into that a little bit and share some of that information with you all. So let's talk about some vegetables to start off. Vegetables are a good source of vitamins and fiber, and we should eat the rainbow of those. When it comes to both fruits and vegetables, the more colorful, the more polyphenols, they can reduce inflammation. And that's important for anybody, especially that has arthritis or any pains and aches. Anything that's more colorful is going to help to reduce some inflammation in general, or for the most part. So let's talk about a couple staples that you should have on hand that can help you heal. Spinach is a great vegetable to have on hand. Spinach is a great source of iron and has many vitamins such as A, B6, C, E, and K, and many others like magnesium and several other great nutrients that can help prevent cancer and heart disease. It creates an alkaline environment basically within our system, and it's highly absorbable macronutrients or micronutrients rather to our nervous system. It's best to eat spinach when it's fresh and raw. And if you pair that up with some regular sliced up avocado, the fats in the avocado can actually work together in synchronizing what your body needs. So those two combined can increase carotenoids, which actually can do some prevention against cancer and heart disease. So whenever having some spinach, whether it be a spinach salad or you take a salad and you add spinach to it, see if you can put some sliced up avocado within that, because those two ingredients together will definitely give you an added boost that you'll need. Another great vegetable is broccoli. A lot of people like broccoli. Any cruciferous vegetable like that, broccoli, purple broccoli, which is interesting and very good as well. Kind of looks like cauliflower with a purple hue to it. Cauliflower, another cruciferous vegetable, good for you as well. They contain antioxidants that prevent damage to our eyes. And also, if you serve broccoli with mustard, so here's a great combination. Kind of sounds a little odd, I guess, but combining broccoli and mustard can actually enhance its disease-fighting properties. So the enzymes contained in those two foods can merge together to create a compound that will prevent cancer. And there's been several studies, and I will provide access to the links in the show notes after. So maybe you want to do a honey mustard, a kind of vinaigrette sauce, or just pour that over your broccoli, and those will actually be super helpful for you in terms of, creating some good enzymes for your body. Let's delve a little bit now into some of our main proteins, meats and seafoods. So those that stand out among others that I find are obviously going to be you've got your fish, your poultry, and your red meats. So you always want to go with organic whenever possible. So organic is going to ensure that you have less hormones, less chemicals that have been injected, especially this time of year, whenever you're looking at the grocery store. You generally will see some foods that just look bigger than normal. Those have had additional hormones and or chemicals or salines, kind of salt included in them, to plump them up and obviously, kind of increase the pounds that you're buying. But yet when you get it home and unthought, sometimes it's not quite as big as it was when you bought it. So buying organic, you're going to pretty much get what you buy. You're going to have a lot less of injected hormones that are going to be plumped up in the meat, and they're going to contain less chemicals in them as well. So whenever possible, always buy organic chickens or turkeys in this case as well, if possible. And then when it comes to fish, the best fish out there is really the smaller of the fish. So you've got your herring, mackerel, sardines. Those are really great for you. Wild caught salmon is really great though. It contains EPA and DHA and omega-3 fatty acids that are great for our brain health. When possible, you should always buy wild caught salmon. That comes from Alaska. Because the fish and salmon from Alaska actually contain less mercury. And mercury, we'll talk about it in a little bit. It's actually not great for us and our brain health, but yet the salmon is great for our brain health. So we need to balance those things out. Also be aware of anything that is farm raised for fish, because they do not actually contain any omega-3 fatty acids in them. And why is that? Fish don't produce omega-3 fatty acids on their own. It's actually something that they acquire by eating the algae, or the larger fish consuming some of those smaller fish that do eat the algae. So when buying wild caught fish, you are getting the kind of predatory fish that have consumed those smaller fish that have eaten the algae, which is where a lot of those omega-3 fatty acids are really coming from. So it's great that you look for those wild caught versions of fish, particularly salmon as well. And being from Alaska, again, best source to find it just because it had lower mercury there. In addition, anything that is red meats, you want to get grass-fed red meat. Grass-fed red meats are going to be less hormones, less toxins because of them eating the grasses versus the grains, which can have some of that, chemicals from the grains or pesticides possibly that have been put on there and then fed to the animals. And then obviously we consume that as well. But eating red meats, you want to go with those that are grass-fed again. Bison, venison, those are good choices also, because those are usually in the pastures more than anything that is kind of local, not local, but those that are kind of just combined. So red meats can also be considered carcinogenic to our bodies. So you don't want to eat a lot of that. You want to limit that. Usually any proteins in general, you want to have kind of your hand size for proteins, but you do want to limit that, particularly for red meats. We actually use ButcherBox. We find that is a great source of good quality meat. They have great organic chickens that we love. They're regular sized chickens. They have grass-fed beef, and they have a variety of different meats to choose from. We've been using them for about a year now, and they also have fish. So we get various fish from there. We get salmon, shrimp, and some cod from there too, and it's just good quality. When we cook it, we don't see that there's any residues or any things that are kind of looking like they're leaching out of it, which is great. And right now, Butcher Box is having a great deal between now, November 1st and the 19th, where you can get a free main course meat, which is a turkey or a turkey breast and or a spiral ham for Christmas. So definitely want to give them a try. And they're also running an additional promotion right now that will go just from today until the 3rd, actually. So it's kind of a limited promotion that they do where you can get $100 off of your first subscription for your first 5 boxes. So $20 each box, which is a great deal. And I encourage you to check that out on the website under Tammy's Picks. So if you go to Limitless Ladies Network / Tammy's Picks, you'll find that along with some other great products out there. But definitely organic and great meats. That's what you want to be feeding your family. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about our fruits. Everybody loves fruits. There are some that are better than others. And when looking at fruits, you want to try to eat the rainbow again as well. So with the fruit, organic is best. If it's not organic, they say you shouldn't buy it, because if it's not organic, then there's going to have more toxins and more pesticides on them, like paraquat, which has actually been linked to various different cancers. And sometimes you can notice, the organic versus not organic is generally 2 times bigger than organic. But definitely eating the rainbow. A couple of our favorites are wild blueberries. We call them brainberries. They're good for your brain. They actually help to restore your central nervous system and to flush out any neurotoxins, again, within your brain. And they get rid of anything that is neurotoxins within your liver. Raspberries are another rich antioxidant that remove free radicals from our organs and from our bloodstream. Pomegranates, one of my favorites, and they're actually in season right now. Kind of a weird looking fruit, essentially, but it's kind of this big red fruit that you might see in the stores. And it's great for detoxing and cleansing the body and the lymphatic system. It looks a little scary possibly to think about eating, but you just kind of slice it open according to how the shape of it is, and kind of pluck out the seeds. You can eat the seeds raw, throw them in your salads, throw them on your yogurt, and it has great fiber. It's red, so therefore it's good for you as well, and that has that extra nutrients in it. Additionally, our grapefruit is great as well, because that is a rich source of bioflavonoids and calcium, and that helps to support the immune system and flushes toxins out of the body. Always check with your doctor on grapefruit, as it can have adverse reactions when taking any blood thinners. So just again, anytime that you're making any massive changes to your diet or you're trying to introduce something new, always good to check with your healthcare provider, and especially if you are on medications, to see if possibly some of the things that you're doing may cause any adverse reactions, and get that approval from them first. But grapefruit is definitely one of those ones that if you're on a blood thinner, you do not want to be taking grapefruits. So definitely check those. All right, so let's talk about grains, nuts, and seeds. Brown rice and purple rice are also great things to consume on a regular basis. Brown rice, way better than white rice, so it hasn't been bleached and or taken off the nutrients. Brown rice contains some phenols and flavonoids that are antioxidants and can actually help to protect the body from oxidative stress. So oxidative stress is associated with a number of health conditions, including heart disease and certain cancers, and actually premature aging. So we want to reduce the oxidative stress on our body, and brown rice and or purple rice are a great way to do that. And you might be sitting there going, what's purple rice? Purple rice can be found generally around the rices, or sometimes in the oriental section of the supermarket, and can kind of be called purple or black rice. Legend has it actually that purple rice was originally reserved exclusively for China's ancient emperors, most likely due to its rarity. So it's kind of considered the forbidden rice or the emperor's rice because of that. But purple rice really is high in fiber, protein, and iron. So I highly recommend it. We consume some purple rice, and even the kids like the purple rice, although it looks a little strange at first, but they do like it. It contains powerful antioxidants, and it has been linked to reduced cases of obesity, diabetes, and even heart disease. So one study by the National Library of Medicine had actually linked purple rice to cancer prevention in rats. We're not rats, but there are a lot of tests that are done on rats. So if it reduces risks for rats with cancer or them getting cancer, then most likely it would be similar for humans. So I kind of trust that study. Plus it just tastes great. And mix it with some of that, good nutrients and proteins, and it would just be great to do. It is also an anti-inflammatory that has anti-carcinogenic properties. So we talked a little bit about the red meats being carcinogenic in our body. So pairing that with a purple rice would actually be a good pairing, because the carcinogenic properties of the red meat and the anti-carcinogenic properties of the rice would actually kind of help to flush some of that out. So keep that in mind when making your steak, that you might want to have it with purple rice rather than a potato. Just saying, it's probably better for you. All right, let's get a little nutty here and talk about some nuts. So the top nuts that they say are good for our health are pistachios and walnuts. Pistachios, although they can be a little pain to crack open all of those shells, can be good for you. You generally want to go with the unsalted version, and you can actually get them in bags that are already shelled for you, which is what we do, and it's a lot easier to grab a handful. Pistachios are a complete protein. So they provide the essential amino acids that our bodies can't make on their own. So they are one of the highest foods that contain antioxidant properties. A study published in the Diabetes Care actually suggests that they may also have glucose and insulin reducing effects among people with prediabetes. So grab a handful of pistachios, because a lot of us women, as we get older, in general, a lot of people as we get older become insulin resistant, which is why we have a lot of midsection weight and things like that. So pistachios are great to kind of fend that off. Plus nuts in general are a little bit more satiating. They make you feel fuller, and they just taste great. Walnuts are another great one. So walnuts look like brains, therefore good for your brain. It's one of those culinary cues that we should take. If it looks like a brain, it's probably good for your brain. They contain some omega-3 fatty acids. They're good not only for our brains, but also for our heart and, believe it or not, our eyes. And then the additional one would be our flax seeds. So flax seeds contain linolens and omega-3 fats. Linolens are polyestrogens, and they're similar to female sex hormones, or the sex hormone estrogen. So whenever buying any flax seeds, you want to make sure that they're ground flax seeds, because the seed itself is kind of hard for a lot of people to digest generally. So if you get it ground up and it's organic, then it'll be much easier for you to pass through your digestive system. Also, there was a study by PubMed again that has shown that eating flax seeds can reduce markers of tumor growth in women with breast cancer, and may also reduce the risks of heart disease. So flax seeds, ground flax, actually good for, again, on yogurt, can put in your shakes as well, put on a salad, and it just is beneficial in so many ways to introduce flax seeds. So let's get a little spicy as we go into this holiday season as well, with all of these wonderful meals that we're going to be cooking for Thanksgiving, Christmas coming up, and any other holiday parties. Spices are kind of the spice of life. I love spices. I have a big arrow garden on my counter, and I love just grabbing all of those fresh herbs right from my counter to put into all of my meals. Cilantro is a great spice to use. It removes heavy metals such as mercury and lead that can actually leach out from our fillings. If any of you have those fillings, and if you're close to my age, you probably have some, because I know I did. And if you are a Lyme disease patient, you can have some issues with having those mercury fillings in your mouth, because Lyme can actually attach to those mercury fillings and cause some issues with teeth. So find a good dentist that can take care of those mercury fillings and kind of get that switched out, but also consume some cilantro, because that'll help, as it does leach out after years of being in there. Another one is kind of not really a spice, but sort of onions is, and these are really more herbs, I guess, than spices, but the onions contain antioxidants that contain they can reduce our risks of heart disease and lower our cholesterol. Another study of 54 women, it was a very small study that they had done on those that had polycystic ovarian syndrome, found that if they had consumed 80 to 120 grams of raw red onions per day for about 8 weeks, it lowered their LDL cholesterol, which is that bad cholesterol. So you may want to throw some small red onions chopped into a salad, or maybe, cook them up with some of your meats. An additional one is garlic. Garlic has antiviral properties and antibacterial properties. As an herb, it defends against viruses. So definitely include some garlic in your cooking. And ginger is one that can also help to relieve muscle spasms, believe it or not. And it helps the nutrition assimilation, has been noted to relieve muscle spasms. And it's also great for colds. So I use ginger in a lot of the soups, like homemade chicken soup. When I do it, it adds a little bit of nice warmth, heat to it, and some great flavor to the chicken soup as well. And I also wanted to kind of mention, as we're talking about some of these things, that garlic and onions, when paired up with rice, so your purple rice or your brown rice, if you saute some onions and some garlic together, that trio of kind of spices or herbs with the rice can have a significant increase in iron absorption, as much as 65%. So definitely saute some of those. It'll not only add some flavor to your rice dishes, but it will also, boost up your iron. And it seems that a lot of people these days are actually low in iron. So something to consider as well. And then for one final bonus is, we're just past Halloween, so there's a lot of candy out there. Dark chocolate is actually really good to consume versus the lower chocolates that have more sugar. Dark chocolate, if you go 70% to 85% dark chocolate, it's better for your mood and your brain, but it also has been proven to reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease. And it's a little bit more satiating or satisfying to have some dark chocolate. So it kind of fends off the sweets, where you're not going to have more candy. You'll actually be a little bit more satisfied by having that dark chocolate. Great. Well, thank you so much for joining me again today. I hope that you found this episode to be insightful and feel a little bit more empowered to explore some culinary delights that we mentioned here today in your dishes and boost your healing potential. If you should happen to have any suffering of arthritis or any other inflammatory disease and are interested in kind of exploring some options to help you feel better and or change some of your dietary habits, I'd be happy to work with you. You can contact me on the website under the directory, or you can send me an email at Thrive, that's THRIVE, at limitlessladiesnetwork.com. And I will provide a free 30-minute discovery call or consultation with you to just kind of review and see if the program would work for you. And of course, please sign up on limitlessladiesnetwork.com for future episodes, and just to kind of be aware of what's going on in the community. So thank you very much, and enjoy your day.